Well, let me bring you to another contentious issue in the RH bill from at Kevin. How much is the budget? At Ann Mijares. In Section 2, why does the RH bill not quote the Philippine Constitution on the protection of the life of the unborn? This is another one of those contentious issues. When does life begin?
If we have to go back to the Constitution says the state shall equally protect the life of the mother and the unborn from conception. It does not say from fertilization, but it says from conception.
Correct.
And the author or authors of this constitutional provision have admitted and underscored that the purpose is to prevent Congress
Yes.
and the Supreme Court to legalize abortion. And this bill is anti-abortion. It does not legalize abortion. It will never legalize abortion. So that is one point. Another thing is it says to protect the unborn from conception.
Yes.
Well, the fertilized ovum has no viable existence unless it is implanted on the mother's uterus,
Yes.
womb.
Yes.
So that is the start of conception. And once the conception is start, there should be no human intervention to pre-terminate that conception, because that is now abortion. And let me just go back a little on the genesis of that constitutional provision. The first proposed provision was to extend the right to life to the fertilized ovum.
Okay.
That was rejected. That
Yes.
was not constitutionalized. And that only shows that there is a difference between fertilization and conception. These are two different stages of the reproductive process. But the most important thing is contraceptives would prevent fertilization.
So it never even gets to that point.
Either by preventing the woman from ovulating, so no egg is produced,
Yes.
which can be fertilized. Another function of contraceptive is to prevent the sperm from reaching the egg, so that there will be no fertilization. But those are medically accepted and proven function of contraception. That is why the United Nations, through the World Health Organization, would emphasize that contraceptives are not abortifacient. And all of these contraceptives in the market today are authorized by the Food and Drug Administration. So it's legal, it's medically safe.
Well, this is interesting from at Poru Santos. What about rumors the bill is a conspiracy of foreign countries? Some schools advocate, actually tell this to their students.
Yeah. Well, that is completely without any basis.
Okay.
They even say that there is a lobby by multinational pharmaceutical corporations
Correct.
to have the bill enacted. That is without basis. Let me just assure you, Maria, that the most of the co-authors of the bill were also co-authors of the Cheaper Medicine Act. And we were all against the multinational corporations.
Yes.
But we are going to include voluntarily a provision in the bill. I am not yet privileged to disclose it, which would really debunk that that claim of lobby.
Well, here's another one from at Near Vadel. You mentioned the contraception. Lawsuits involving companies that produce pills, IUDs in the United States and Canada. She just asked for a comment. Any comment on this?
Well, if the lawsuits would say that a particular product is abortive, then definitely we are not going to promote that in the country. We're not going to allow that. We're only going to allow reproductive health commodities which have been authorized by our own Food and Drug Administration.
Interesting. From at Rafael Lopez, how will the RH bill affect the youth in terms of socioeconomic development? So
Well,
looking forward.
It's very positive. because definitely, as I've said, the empirical studies by the United Nations and countries which have institutionalized sexuality education in their school curriculum would have beneficent results. For example, proper sexual values. That means to say we are going to debunk all of the myths about the reproductive process. And since parents in the Philippines,
Yes.
majority of them have defaulted in giving instructions to their children on sexuality, because sex conversation is taboo
Yes.
in our homes.
Although it's changing in this generation, don't you
Yeah,
think?
it's changing, but
not
not as fast as we want it to be. So much so that our children now would get their information on sexuality from polluted sources,
Yes.
from peer groups. That is why government, the states, should now
Have a stake.
have a say
Yes.
on an institutionalized education with respect to sexuality and reproductive health.
Very interesting question from at AM Mijares. If it is not passed, what will you do next?
Well, we are not thinking about the bill not passing.
Okay.
But if it is not passed, there will be more maternal deaths in the country. And today, there are about 11, well, 14 to 15 maternal deaths already. And that
A
is
day,
a
right?
day.
14
And
to
we are
15.
very far from our commitment to the Millennium Development Goals on the improvement of maternal health and reduction of maternal mortality. If we are not able to pass the bill, we will not be able to succeed in attaining sustainable human development, because no development agenda will possibly succeed without addressing simultaneously and positively the population problem, because a huge population growth rate would impact adversely on all human development indicators like education,
Yes.
health, food security, mass housing, employment, and even the ecology. The ecology. Look
Correct.
at the ecology.
Yes.
Yet a huge population growth rate would really impact adversely on the ecology, so much so that a huge population would make difficult and more expensive risk management, and also would compound the problems of catastrophes and calamities.
My last question now, because we're running out of time, sir, is it's been so long, more than a decade. You have been a major proponent of this. Have you seen a change in the Filipino public, in society, that tells you the time is right for this now?
Well,
So you're so optimistic about passing this.
well, there are three factors which
Okay.
would support this optimism.
Yes.
One, the Filipino public has increasingly been supportive of the bill. This is
75% in
yes,
some
this
of the
has been
surveys.
documented,
Yes.
documented by surveys after survey. Number two, the House leadership is in favor of having a vote taken on this measure, but most importantly, the president is in favor of having this bill enacted into law.
And the perception from outside is that it will have a harder time passing the House than the Senate. Is that correct?
Well, I think our political mapping would show that we have the advantage both in the House as well as in the Senate. And to my mind, if the House would pass this earlier than the Senate, it would be a pressure on the Senate. And if the Senate would pass this earlier than the House, it would be a pressure on the House.
So you see it passing in August. When do you see it becoming law?
Well, shortly thereafter, because we will have to have a bicameral conference committee. But it is not difficult. It is not contentious to have a bicameral conference committee, because the bills pending in the House as well as the Senate are similar.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Thank you,
Thank
Albay
you.
Representative Edcel Lagman,
Thank you.
the principal author of the RH bill. He is finishing 6 terms in Congress. He says he wants this to be the crowning achievement of those 6 terms. Thank you so much for joining us out there. Continue sending your questions to questions and comments, and we've seen a lot of them on here. Send them to @rappler.com or go ahead and post them on Facebook. We'll make sure Congressman Lagman gets them and you'll get your answer back. This is a huge debate for the country. We're nearing the end point. Go out there, let your voices be heard. This is Maria Ressa. Thank you for joining us.